Penis got me, penis got me moaning. Stick that big D in my ass. Come gang, come shot. Big dick, big come stay. Who's straight? No way. Penis game, check my mood, eh? Squirt, squirt. Penis got me booty up like it rub.
Troubleshooter, abandoned children, an 82-hour argument against more is better. Cold open, because this game definitely has one, whether you want it or not. Voice 1, dry. Welcome to Troubleshooter, Abandoned Children, a game that begins with promise, ambition, and optimism, and ends with you wondering why you just read a novel-length script about spoon-worshipping cultists without hearing a single human voice. Voice 2, it's the kind of game that proudly says we have depth and then shoves 82 hours of it into your lap without checking if you actually wanted that much. Voice 3, already yelling, why is nobody talking? Why am I reading everything? I didn't sign up for a visual novel disguised as XCOM. What is this game really? On paper, Troubleshooter, Abandoned Children sounds fantastic. A tactical turn-based strategy RPG inspired heavily by XCOM, mixed with anime aesthetics and a dash of Persona-style social elements. You play as a group of troubleshooters, essentially licensed vigilantes, protecting neighborhoods from gangs and criminal organizations while being backed by the police. It sounds like it should work, and sometimes it almost does. Voice acting? Never heard of her. Let's start with one of my biggest personal issues. This game has no voice acting at all. None. Zero. And considering this game takes roughly 82 hours to beat, that means reading everything. I ended up skimming entire paragraphs just to preserve my sanity. This game would greatly benefit from English voice acting, or any voice acting. Instead, it asks you to absorb mountains of dialogue while constantly interrupting gameplay to explain mechanics, lore, relationships, and systems, most of which don't need that much explanation. Story, meh, but also way too much voice. 2, the story itself is fine, meh. Not offensively bad, but nowhere near strong enough to justify how much time it demands from you. There's a cult that worships spoons. Yes, really. I assume it's meant to be funny or quirky. It's not. There's also a major character named Carter, and yes, I have beef with him. Your final confrontation with Carter is a one-on-one fight, and he still gets away. The outcome? Carter becomes a leader, the Spoonists, who are, by the way, families with children abandoning their city to find a new world, head off into the distance, and the game heavily hints that his radical methods will be explored further. Voice 3 in the sequel. Voice 1, which is fascinating, because this game came out 6 years ago. Abandoned Children. Where? By the way, for a game titled Abandoned Children, I genuinely expected abandoned children, kidnapping, gang recruitment, something. Nope, the crimes I saw were assault, robbery, and hostile takeovers. That's it. No child gangs, no kidnapped kids, nothing that really justifies the title beyond vague metaphor. Gameplay. XCOM but louder and worse. This is where the game really starts to lose me. It's basically a quirky XCOM but inferior in almost every way. The beauty of XCOM Enemy Unknown was its clarity, simple systems with deep tactical depth. You understood cover, positioning, and risk immediately. Troubleshooter adds complexity without benefit. Combat systems are overly complicated. Affinities, rules, counters, fog of war triggers. Research systems are unintuitive. Enemy encounters feel chaotic rather than strategic. Combat doesn't feel satisfying. Enemies come in waves, bosses die, and it rarely feels like you accomplished anything. Voice 3. I never felt smart playing this game. The grind, the real final boss. My biggest issue? The grind. I have 82.22 hours logged, and a huge chunk of that time was spent replaying the same maps over and over for side quests, materials, enemy info, and loot chests. Maps are long, drawn out, and the loot chest situation actively makes them worse. Getting new characters takes way too long. People say 9 to 12 hours for another party member, and I believe it. The character I wanted most joined 8th, which made me ask, why am I even here? This game could have cut 85% of its content, and it would have been a better experience. Presentation. Surprisingly decent. Sometimes some animations are genuinely impressive. The art style isn't my taste, but it's well made, and thankfully the anime excess is mostly restrained. Mostly. Yes, there are still high school kids doing backflips off buildings for no reason, and edgelords in fur coats who are clearly meant to be intimidating. Right. Menus in the HQ are needlessly obtuse, but there is real customization depth layered throughout the game. Credit where it's due. Final thoughts. I don't think this is a bad game. For turn-based fans, the gameplay is okay. The lore and world are interesting enough. I liked feeling like a hero backed by the police. It genuinely felt like one of those Korean webtoons. Some characters had me invested. Others, I skimmed past without regret. I constantly expected to be backstabbed, especially since 3 teammates were friends with Carter, and that tension almost paid off. But overall, the game is tiring, tedious, overwritten, overdesigned. Nor 5 good points. 1. Deep customization systems and character builds. 2. Surprisingly strong world-building concept. 3. Some excellent animations and presentation moments. 4. Tactical combat can shine in smaller encounters. 5. Ambitious first project from an indie developer. 5 made points. 1. No voice acting at all. 2. Story is serviceable but forgettable. 3. Music and sound design are bland and elevator-like. 4. Social system exists but adds little value. 5. Art style is competent but inconsistent. 5 bad points. 1. Excessive dialogue and constant interruptions. 2. Overcomplicated combat with unclear payoff. 3. Extreme grind and bloated runtime. 4. Poor pacing for character recruitment. 5. Misleading store page and unclear genre focus. Bonus talking points. Shout out to Dandelion, the indie developer. Impressive ambition for a first game, even if it overreaches. The sequel, Troubleshooter Banished Children, exists somewhere, allegedly. Persona-inspired social mechanics feel tacked on and undercooked. Tactical clarity is sacrificed for mechanical bloat. Less is more is a lesson this game desperately needs. Final recommendation, not recommended. This looked like a JRPG melded with XCOM. It turned out I was horribly, horribly wrong. Ambitious, overlong, occasionally impressive, but ultimately exhausting.